Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to it's almost the weekend edition of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, and brought to you by Lay of the Land. And as we do every week, we take a look at those top stories making headlines Monday to Thursday right here. So before we head off into the weekend, and many of us head off to the beaches or actually to wherever we can keep cool, let's take a look at those top stories. And we begin in Iran, where the new president-elect, President Raisi, will be sworn in today. Now, he comes in facing two major crises, both domestic and international. Inside the country, drought has resulted in water shortages, and there are protests across the country, with many calling for an end to the government. Internationally, the international pressure mounts on Iran, especially following the drone attack on the Mercer Street, an Israeli-owned merchant tanker just off the coast of Oman over last weekend, which killed a British national who has been identified as a former member of the British Army and a Romanian national. Now, there has been mounting pressure on the United Nations Security Council as well as the international community to react and condemn Iran and instill more sanctions. Meanwhile, Benny Gantz, our defense minister, has said that Israel is ready to strike if necessary, but says it has to be a collective international response to the threat that Iran poses. In other news, we've been following the Ben & Jerry story, and many of us have lost our appetite for that particular kind of ice cream. But we do have some updates. At least 18 of the Ben & Jerry's US-based franchisees have sent very, very harsh letters to the board of the company. Now, the board is acting independently of its holding company, Unilever. Unilever has been put on blast by at least 5 US states who have threatened to enact their anti-BDS laws, and I'll get to that in a moment. But in the letter, the franchisees accuse Ben & Jerry's of distorting the reality on the ground, saying that they haven't put anything in context and that this is a very, very complex conflict and they've only looked at it from one side. They've also expressed their concern and their dismay that the license for the Israeli manufacturer, the manufacturer who many of us are trying to support as much as possible by buying locally manufactured Ben & Jerry's ice cream, will lose their license at the end of 2022. And they've said that this is not only discriminatory, but it also will cost not just the Israeli franchise, but many of their franchisees a potential lots of money. So we're watching this with a lot of interest. Meanwhile, the state of Illinois and the state of Florida have issued warnings that the company has 90 days to reverse their decision or they will be divested from. Now, what many people don't realize is that many states actually in their pension funds put a lot of money into these major blue chip companies. However, at least 35 states in the US have anti-BDS laws in place, and this decision to boycott by Ben & Jerry's could be in contravention not only of their anti-BDS laws, but the anti-discrimination laws right here in Israel. And in other news, we've been looking to see who could possibly replace or take over the portfolio as ambassador to the United States. At the moment, our ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, has been doing double duty as ambassador to the United States as well. But today it was announced that the older brother of our president, Mike Herzog, who was the former head of the IDF Strategic Planning Division, is the front runner to be the new ambassador to the United States. Also announced was our foreign minister saying that he is tapping Yael German. She is the former health minister. She will be our ambassador to France, and we wish her everything of the best. And our final story, and we're only 2 or 3 days away from the end of the Olympics, but the end of the Olympics would have happened by the time we start broadcasting next week. So we just have to take a look at what has been an extraordinary Olympics for the state of Israel, starting today in the early hours of the morning, of course, Japan time, with an incredible swim by Matan Roditi, who missed out on a medal literally by seconds. He finished fourth in his race and went beyond his own personal expectations. But really, we at Lay of the Land and the Israel Brief just want to say we are so proud of our Israeli athletes, including Donatella, the horse. Donatella was my favorite athlete, I have to be quite honest about that. But for all our athletes in all the sports they represented, we are extremely proud of you all. You have all exceeded our expectations. Incredible to bring home 2 bronze medals. One by Avishag Semberg for Taekwondo, the other for Team Israel Mixed Judo. An incredible performance. And of course, who can forget Artem Dolkobiat with the gold for men's artistic gymnastics. And we're still not finished. We still have tomorrow Linoy Ashram. She's also one of our hot gymnasts. She will be doing her competition tomorrow. She's also a front runner for a medal, and we're really holding our fingers, our thumbs, and also our toes for her. Hey, it's gymnastics after all. And there have been some incredible high points as well. A real gratitude to the Olympic Committee for the opening ceremony, acknowledging after nearly 50 years the murder of Israel's 11 athletes and coaches at the 1972 Munich Olympics. A very moving moment for us all. Also the ceremony that they held during the course of this week that also paid tribute to the 11 murdered Israelis. But also some other incredible moments. Besides the medal, we have the moment that 2 countries sadly did not want to face off against our judokas. They were summarily kicked out of the Olympics, but that really special moment when Said Moualem, the former Iranian judoka, he dedicated his medal to Israel and to the Israeli people for the love, for the spirit that we have shown towards him. And also our own judoka Raz Hershko, who faced off against her Saudi opponent, beating her, but the 2 ladies, despite immense pressure for the Saudi to forfeit the match, they hugged each other, they shook each other's hands, they acted in the spirit of the Olympics. And of course, Team Israel Baseball, who everybody's saying that they performed with such passion, such heart and such tenacity, and have really put baseball on the map in Israel. So an incredible Olympics. We hope that next week we'll have more good news about more medals, hopefully. But it has been an incredible 2 weeks. We've been so happy to share it all with you. And as we head into the weekend, we just want to remind you to check out our original content online on our website at www.layoftheland.online. You can read Kenneth Mokratle's article on ZAP, how ZAP, an Israeli startup, is helping to beat malaria on the African continent. It's up on our Facebook page. While you're there, please give us a like or a follow if you haven't already. If you like our content, please share. We've got Facebook censors to get past. So if you're watching this, please share the news from Israel. We're on YouTube at the Israel Brief. Please click on that red subscribe button. The more of you who click, the easier it is for us to get Israel's news out to as many people as possible. And we're also on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5. You can catch up with us over there. So all that remains for me to do is to wish you a peaceful, a safe and a healthy weekend from all of us here to all of you out there, wherever you are in the world. Shabbat Shalom, and we will meet again next week.